the one red, pour out the Jameson for ancestors to swig.
You rescue me yet again. You put me first, let me win. You make me feel better than the multitudes. You rescue me yet again. You put me first, let me win. You make me feel better than the multitudes.
Test, even though you probably have a paternity test already that shows that you're the father, they'll make you do another one. You know, like I said, they make you jump through some hoops, but it's not tens of thousands of dollars. So just want to clear that up.
Because that's how all this stuff got started. We don't hold women accountable for the fracturing of the family and why things are the way they are. We always look to find the way the man is at fault. That's how we got started right here, because we were talking about one situation, and like most black women, you try to go around and say, well, then black men have something to do with it too.
Well, it takes two people to create a child.
It takes one to decide. Ma'am, okay, well, what does that, and that means what?
So I wanted to get to...
that means what? No, we don't finish this thought. It means what?
Well, the statistics of single...
Takes two people to create a child means what?
I'm going to connect that to this statement that I'm making now. Because you kind of said a lot in the last few minutes.
I can do that. It's my platform.
I know, but I'm trying to keep up and tie all together instead of just answering like one section, which I feel like we're not really bringing the whole piece together.
Well, it's because you don't know what you're talking about. It's because you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, you don't know what you're talking about, man. Saying it takes two people to make a child. Yeah, but only one person can decide whether or not to bring it to term. And when most people are laying down and having sex, they're not choosing to make a child. They're having sex.
So we're talking about the women that are making these choices now. The women that are sleeping with these men and getting pregnant now are fully grown women. You're saying majority of them in their 30s. That means that they grew up in the 80s and the 90s till now. So what was the percentage of single mothers and fathers then over that time period, not the statistics that we're getting today?
Why?
Because that will show you the character of the man and how...
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And see, guys, this is what I want you guys to understand. This is what I want... Nope. This is what I need you guys to understand. They don't like holding women accountable. See, when you... It's moving the goalposts. No, ma'am, because what you want to say, well, the facts are... No.
I don't.
See, this is what it is today, but let's go back to see what the stats were with their fathers. In my father's generation, you still had similar statistics. Man, bottom line is, women choose when children are born.
That is the truth.
This is the woman, okay, asking me a question about the statistics of the 90s and 80s, that when you're 21 years old, to try to prove a point, you can't make that point. You're just looking for some way to end up making your argument stick.
I wasn't there, so I'm just trying to connect it and make it make sense for me. So
how about this? The problem starts with the women.
Okay.
You gotta take accountability.
Women control access to childbirth and sex.
So we're saying that...
True or false?
True.
True.
All right. So a child cannot be born if a woman does not want to carry it to term, regardless as to who had sex with what. If I had sex with you and you wanted to terminate your pregnancy, could I force you to have our child? Absolutely not.
Right.
So regardless, as it takes two people, it takes one to decide. Let me ask you a fundamental question.
Okay.
The breakdown of the nuclear family. The majority of responsibility lies, the breakdown of the nuclear family in the black community. The majority of the responsibility lies upon the black man or the black woman.
The breakdown, as far as the structure, as far as like the leadership?
The dissolution, the breakup, ma'am, I'm not going to give you any specifics. It's the general question.
She doesn't know what the nuclear family
Okay,
means.
I would say the black man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And this is where this woman, this feminist stuff, at 21 years old, with no real thoughts of training, this is what we get. When you just say 50, the breakdown of the black family, we have an almost 60% divorce rate in this country, okay, in our black community. Black women marry at a rate out of 26%, 1 in 4. So 3 out of 4 black women will never marry in their lifetime. So 1 out of 4 will marry. The average black marriage lasts 5 years. So when we get to that 60% divorce rate of these few black marriages that black women and black men are in, what percentage of divorces are filed by black women?
I have heard you say this. I don't know the percentage, but majority of them.
The majority. So when you look at the breakdown of the family, who's filing for divorce?
The women.
Well, then that's who's that's who's responsible. The person that leaves. The number one cause of divorce is filing for divorce. If you have 80% of the children being born to fatherless homes, that's women deciding to have children before they have the benefit of marriage.
So where is this coming from, though? Like, why?
I don't blame anybody, though, specifically. I think it's a systematic thing, if anything. But I understand where he's coming from.
Behavior. Like, it seems ridiculous. Obviously, it's ridiculous. You know, we see the women come onto your broadcast.
Why do you think it is, ma'am? Because women have freedom.
Because
women have freedom. Black women have freedom. Black women have freedom, and black women have freedom, and they have been freed from the black men because in 1965, the Great Society came along. And guess what? Black women were given the option.
That's what I was trying to get to, but then it
but you don't know. But you weren't even. Anyway.
I know,
then why are you asking, ma'am? Then why are you asking? Then if you know that, then you know why the breakdown of the black family happened. Women chose government assistance, government benefits over a man in the house.
But at the same.
I don't think it was a choice as much as he's saying it was, but I've heard that before too. Of course, we all know about the welfare system and how they took men out the household, but I think women wanted men to be in the household. But you know, at the same time, if he can't find a job and he can't put food on the table, and you have the government outside knocking at your door saying, "We'll help you out, just put him out." I mean, what were they supposed to do? And then, even once they put the man out of the home, were they still able to live? No, not really. They still were struggling. They still needed even more assistance. They still needed, with the government's assistance, they still needed more assistance. They still needed a man. So it was a lose-lose.
Do you not know that?
I know that.
Okay, then how can you say that black men are responsible if you know that one fact?
Well, no, not that they're responsible. That maybe that they were used in that moment.
No, they weren't used. See, again, that's bullshit. There we go again. Nope, absolutely.
They were used.
There we go again with that. Black women were used. You're talking about adults. So black women, so how were they, so they're not responsible?
No, I was saying that maybe black men were used in the same scheme of the government that handed government assistance to black women.
Black women had a choice.
At the same time that
black women had a choice.
They had a choice.
Black women had a choice.
Black women had a choice.
Black women had a choice. This is the modern feminist. This is a pro-black feminist. This is your problem. This is what black men are not dating. As cute as she is, it's a wrap. This is what black men are having to deal with. This is what they're having to deal with. A bunch of useless knowledge going to a feminist ideal.
Women definitely be talking crazy.
This is what was proper. This is what's going on. So many colleges in you. I'm glad I took this call because you older ladies want to see what you wrought. Women of my generation. This is the product. 21 years old. This is the product. Generation X, this is your daughter.
I think that's Generation Z, ain't it?
Who would you hold responsible for the breakdown of the black family? And even knowing the Great Society and the Moynihan Report, she still puts it to black men. This is that color purpling of the black community. This is why so many black men are tired.
No, we're definitely tired. No doubt about that.
You're talking to yourself. Now you can go ahead and you can't overtalk me.
Oh, I was on mute. I didn't.
Yeah, because you're not going to overtalk me. That's the thing. Because I don't mute you, but you're not going to. I have to start raising my voice. And I know you could hear me, right?
I tend to do that. It's just like happens.
So you tend to be rude?
It's not that I try to be rude. I'm just very like spontaneous, impulsive, not spontaneous, impulsive at times.
Do you have a job?
I haven't worked since COVID. I've been trading in this foreign exchange market.
Okay. Do you do that when your manager's talking? When you had a job?
When I had a job. I'm sorry. What was the question?
When you had a job, did you just overtalk your employer too?
Probably.
Prior to COVID, I had worked for myself for 2 years, driving DoorDash deliveries, and I worked for myself, so I never really cared to have a boss, and that's why I'm pursuing entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
21, you can do that. I wish I was 21 when they had DoorDash. Man.
Yep, all bad.
So
because ma'am, you cannot like it.
I wish I had DoorDash at 21.
But the reality is, you cannot keep deflecting and not putting responsibility for the fracture of the black family everywhere else other than with black people.
No, it's with black people.
And if who is choosing today to have children without marriage in the freest, no Jim Crow, no segregation, none of that stuff, 80% choosing, knowing all the facts, the data, statistics. Children tend to do better in a nuclear parent household. We know these facts, right?
Yes, 100%.
Then why are black women still choosing to have children outside of the bonds of marriage at an 8 out of 10 rate? Why do you think black women are doing that?
I think that black women are reacting kind of unconsciously from trauma. There's a word for this. It's cognitive dissonance, where
it's called bullshit.
I mean, but that's
it's called bullshit.
It's the only explanation. It's the only explanation.
It's called
cognitive dissonance. I got an idea of what that is, but I don't think that's what it is. I think once again, I'm not trying to place blame on anybody. I feel like it's more of a systematic thing than it is a personal thing. But you know, like he stated, and I never really took that into consideration. I remember hearing about. I remember it was a movie. I think there might even been a movie about women who went on strike and stopped having sex with men for something. I forgot what movie it was, but he has a point there. Like, they are the givers of life, and if black women choose to say, I'm not having unprotected sex with you until we get married, you know, you know, if you can't wear a rubber, then we can't have sex till we get married. That would definitely change the dynamic of the black home. I think that would definitely help women choose the right men, because the wrong men are going to be like, all right, well, I ain't trying to marry you, so I'm out. Somebody who wants to be with you and wants to marry you and finds himself being with you, may find himself being with you for the rest of your life, he may stick around and wait. But it's something that ultimately black women have to do in order for this to work, in order for it to be, you know, a change. And unfortunately, the way black women are moving nowadays, they're moving more like men than they are women, unfortunately. So this might not be happening too soon.
Bullshit. Yep. And this is why I do what I do. Black women are always the victim. Obsidian calls them the victim queens. They're never responsible. It's always somebody else's fault. Cognitive dissonance, racism, white supremacy, Jim Crow, Mr. did it. Color purple, it's always somebody else's fault. How do you build anything? Gentlemen, avoid women who think like that. You're not going to change them. You don't try to save them. Avoid them. Don't be rude to them. Don't be mean to them. The worst thing you can do is get into a relationship and reproduce with a woman who thinks like that. There'll be no peace. There'll be no tranquility.
Facts. So, and you know, everything that they pretty much said, I rock with what Kevin was saying. And like I stated, I don't put any blame on anybody specifically, but we do know from what he said that, yeah, pretty much black women have the power. You know, they're the ones who give life, and they're the ones who can choose to do it or not to do it. They're the ones who can choose to have sex with you or not to have sex with you, to wait for marriage or not to wait for marriage. And honestly, that kind of, not even kind of, that's what it used to be back in the day. You know, you had to get married. If you got pregnant, oh, you was getting married. Like there was no such thing as a baby mama. A baby mama was considered a hoe back then because you went and had sex and had a baby out of wedlock. So you out here hoeing. And a lot of times people wouldn't even, like, you wasn't cool. Like, a lot of because most of them women back then were married with husbands. They didn't want their husbands around the hoe, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So they didn't have friends all like that. Being a baby mama wasn't the cool thing to be. But now it's totally acceptable in the black community. And I doubt that's going to change anytime soon. But if black women chose to say, hey, I'm not having sex with you until we get married, the dynamics would definitely change. Definitely change. So that's just my theory on things, but great conversation. Once again, appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure you guys click the link in the bio. Subscribe. We appreciate the love. And www.Black Fathers of Cleveland, that's our nonprofit organization. www.blackfathersofcleveland.com. Go there and see some of the things that we're doing in the community, as well as make donations. We are a 501c3, so they are tax deductible. Really appreciate the love. Peace.